those guys can't get on the field at tailback, we can always got some room at linebacker. So that's the whole beauty of this whole thing, is to have the ability to move around. But Doc at times gets a little selfish with his guys, and don't see him maybe on the kickoff team or something. But we have an open policy on defense. There's an open policy on defense. They got any chance they want to come on over and play, we'll put them on the field. So, but I get the privilege of introducing a couple kids I actually had the ability to recruit this year, so I got to know him a little bit better. The first kid will be David Durham. Let's make sure he's first one up there. And this is a kid who actually came from Westlake, Texas, which is a suburb of Austin, kind of right around Austin. And it's just a quick story on him. Is had really no idea. Obviously, we don't recruit Texas all that often. And his high school wrestling coach wrestled here at Grandview High School. And they were coming to Columbus for a wrestling tournament and called and said, hey, this kid's getting a lot of interest in football. He's getting a lot of teams obviously sending information on him, and he's got some scholarship offers, and we're coming up to a wrestling tournament. Thought about bringing him over to the facility. So I said, bring him over, we'll take a peek at him. Obviously, we've had a lot of success with wrestlers and tend to like him. So got his tape, kind of saw him, met him, really were intrigued by him, and next thing you know, we offer him. He comes back up a couple of times later, and he commits to us quick. So he then transferred. His dad got transferred back to Charlotte, where he was originally from, went to school through 8th grade, transferred back to Charlotte Christian High School to play his senior season. He has a twin brother who is about half his size, who's on a full scholarship to go to Ole Miss to play tennis. So it's an intriguing thing, but he's a great kid. He's a two-sport athlete. He was an all-state kid, obviously, in football as well as wrestling. I think he's currently 13-0 this year at wrestling at 215. 218, I think, right now is the weight class in North Carolina. But he's a kid that we think obviously can play a lot of different positions. You'll see him when he comes up on film here. I think most of his plays he's standing up, but both his junior and senior year he played both standing up with his hand on the ground. He's a versatile kid. I mean, again, where we'll start him at is obviously at linebacker, but he's a kid that we think's got the ability to move around. He's a great student. He's a student of the game. He's going to be an exciting kid. He's going to be a great addition to whichever group he's with. But he'll start off with the linebackers. So we'll just take a peek at him. The next kid is Chad Hagan. He's a kid from Cannon McMillan High School over there in western PA, probably right around Washington High School, Trinity High School, right around there where Andrew Sweat's from. He's a kid, obviously, that as you see this clip, is going to be a tailback. And a lot of these things that you see, we project guys, but it's hard a lot of times. Most of the times, you look at the high school teams, the best player is either going to be on quarterback or at running back. And sometimes you got to project him at other positions. Yes, Chad he played defense for him. We project him as a safety kid. But if you ask his high school coach, he thinks he might be the best, tailback, outside linebacker, that kind of guy. We know that obviously he's a kid that we think's got a lot of ability. We project him, obviously, like we said, as a safety, but can do a lot of different things. Chad was one of those kids that, as a sophomore year, had a really good season. Got talked into that. Hey, he's a national basketball player. So he didn't play I take that back. He didn't play his sophomore season. He played as a freshman. Didn't play his sophomore season because he thought he was going to be an All-American basketball player, which a lot of kids sometimes get talked into. Came back out as a junior. Obviously led their team into the state playoffs, and then obviously had a great senior season. This year he had a few games he missed due to injury. But as a kid, we're looking obviously for a lot of great things. And really, again, it's the same type of kid. A lot of different positions. How big will he be? How much will he grow? I think the jury's still out on him, but you'll see him here more just as a tailback in these clips. we talk about most of these kids. The things we'd like about, I know most all these guys, is we'll talk about, Coach will talk about, are multi-sport athletes. You know, we like guys that can do more than one thing. So we think obviously upside-wise, as they get focused into a one sport, you know, and when they get to college into that one sport, we think they got a potential to grow. We encourage those guys to continue to run track, to play basketball, to play baseball, whatever it is they do in the winter and the spring, because we want them to continue to compete. Because we know that once they get to college, it's going to be a one-sport thing. We want them to focus in. But if anybody's got any questions on those two guys, we'll take them now.
How concerned are you with Chad's heart condition?
Well, I mean, it's something that obviously when we started recruiting Chad, we didn't know a whole lot about, and so we weren't going to change up after finding out he had a heart condition. You know, he had it diagnosed at the beginning of the season, had a surgery, and everything was clear, and he finished playing. And you know, it's something that we'll leave to the doctors. You know, we recruited Chad as a kid and like him. If something were to happen and he wasn't able to play, we still would want to be a part of this program.
Look, where do y'all look at Durham? Is Durham, could he be, where y'all look at him position-wise?
Well, he'll start off at linebacker, you know, probably more in the middle. Like I said, he was a guy who was maybe 235 pounds, 230 pounds. He's wrestling at about 215, 220 right now. He's got a lot of flexibility there. I picture him as being a bigger guy, as being a 240, 35, 40-pound guy. Whether he can be a big stand-up guy remains to be seen. You know, his best, when we saw him on his junior film, the things he did best was rush the passer. So, you know, we project him as a linebacker, but hopefully he could be a guy that can move around and do some different things for us, and we'll find the best spot for him.
As you look at him now, I mean, do you think he was a little bit overlooked in recruiting? He played for a big-time school in Texas. That Westlake program is one of the top programs in the state. I mean, do you feel like now that you've got him, he was a little bit overlooked?
I don't know. You know, he was one of those kids that the kind of kid we're going to get. We target him, get him up here. He visits 2 or 3 times in the off season and just falls in love with the place. You know, if he'd have stayed in Texas, would Texas or those guys have been all over him? I mean, I don't know. That remains to be seen. But you know, we think he fits exactly what we want. We love what the ability that he has and the person that he is. And then obviously he made the transition back to his high school in Charlotte and didn't have any problems. So I don't think he's going to have a problem adapting.